Hi everyone. Have you ever clicked a button in your LWC component and wondered why isn't anything happening? No errors, no clues, just silence. I hope many of us might have experienced this kind of an issue. Am I right? If that sounds familiar for you, this series is for you. Hi everyone. Welcome to this LWC debugging series. So, we are going to see in this video series why debugging LWC components are challenging at times and how we can approach it more effectively. So this is what we are going to cover in this series of videos. Before moving on to how to debug LWC components more effectively, let us dive into a small demo. Okay, so you can see here I have built two components. Okay, let me first explain to you how this component exactly works. So when you click this button, okay, before moving on to the demo, let me tell you what this component does first. So this is going to give you the car's engine health. Okay, so for example, when I click this button, check engine health, I could see a modal screen popping up here. And when I click this arrow, I could see the car images. Okay. So what you can do is if you want to check the car's engine health, I have got a progress bar here. So let us just drag and see. Say for example, if your car's engine health is 67. Okay. So it shows as a warning symbol that you have to take care for a you have to take care of your car. Okay, you have to leave it for a service. Okay, so if it is above some value, if your health score is 79, it's very good. Okay, it shows that it is excellent. Okay, now if it goes below, okay, so for example, if the health score of your car is 22, it is going to show us critical. So, which means that you have to immediately take your car to the service. Now, I have also displayed few other cars. Okay, you can choose your car models. So for this demo, I have got just three cars and you can just drag your progress bar and check your engine health. Okay, this is what I have designed for this demo. Now this component is exactly working as I expected. Okay, when I click this button, I could see the images of the car. So when I drag my progress bar, I could see the signals like whether it is critical or warning or it's excellent. I could see from the uh, symbol of the health score. Okay, from this I can decide whether I can take my car to a service or it is in a good condition. Okay, this is what is the component going to do. Now, this is a good component, right? It worked as we expected. But I will show you one more version of the same component. Okay, this is actually the one other version which was actually not working as I expected. Okay, so let's see how this works. Let me just click this button. Once I click this button, I'm not able to see the screen, right? So what is the expectation is when I click this button, I should be able to see my component, right? On the screen, I should be able to see the car images. So I should be able to see the car images, right? So, but what happens here is when you just click on this button, the component which is actually having some issue, I'm not seeing anything. Okay. And one more thing is, even I'm not able to know what happened. It's silent, right? So I'm not able to understand whether there is some other issue or what happened because you don't see any kind of error messages here. Okay. So this is the current situation of this component. So we are going to learn in this videos, in the series of videos, how to debug this component and find out the issue. Okay. Usually, what we do is how do we debug a component? How do we debug a LWC component is we have learned that we can use the console.log statements. How many of us depend completely on the console.log statements? So what we do is we go to the particular component. So this is my component. Okay. So you can see here I have got three different components here. So they are all interconnected through the parent-child communication. Okay. So if you see here, I just want to go to the particular component. So I'm seeing here my component code. Okay. This is the code of the problematic version of my component. Okay. Now, what should I do if I use the traditional way of debugging my code using the console.log? I will be suspecting some errors in some places. Okay. If you see here, I'm not seeing the component loading at all. I'm not able to see nothing on my screen. See, let us just refresh this page and see here. When I click this button, I should be seeing a modal screen popping up with the car images. But when I'm clicking this, nothing is happening. Okay, so I should suspect something here, right? So if you see here the template, I'm having some code here. Okay, so only if the move next element, this is actually a Boolean value, I'm conditionally rendering the car images. So this move next element, only if it is true, I'm going to see the car images, right? That is what is the code I have written. So when I come back here, and I could see here initially my move next element is initially false. This move next element will become true only at this place. Okay. So after executing all these lines of statement only, it will be reaching here to change the Boolean value to true. So normally, traditionally, what we will be doing is we'll be putting a console.log here and checking the values. Okay, I should be checking the this value. Okay, this dot next car detail. Okay, so I will be checking each and every property. Okay, whether this property is having the or holding the right value. Okay, then only I can confirm whether this component is having this issue at this place or not. Okay, but look at the problem with the console.log. When do you think this statement will be reached? Only when everything have executed correctly, this statement will be reached, right? So for example, let me cut this statement and put it here. Okay, so I'm just putting it here. So this move next is actually a handler. Let me show you here. So this is actually the handler. Whenever I click this arrow, so you could see here there is an arrow, right? So the next symbol is there, right? So when I click this arrow, this move next handler will be triggered and it will be executed. Okay. So I can't even see my component at all loading on the screen. If you see here, if I just refresh this page again, okay, you can see here, this component is not at all showing up the modal screen at all. Okay, then how do we check the values of this arrow symbol, the move next? So how do you debug this LWC component? So your console.log is not going to help you here. So it is going to take so much time to identify what happened. As developers, we have to sit with this code for more than 1.5 hours and then identify what happened. So how to quickly debug this component? That is what we are going to see in this series of videos. So now we are going to see the challenges with the console.log. Why console.log debugging will not work fine? Let us see few challenges. As I told you, as I told you, you cannot pass the execution. This is a very important point. Say, for example, I want to pass the execution at this point and check what the values are being assigned to these properties. Say, for example, I want to check what is the within range properties value. I want to check what is the next car details value. I want to check what is the move next elements value. Likewise, if I want to check each and every properties values, I cannot freeze the execution if I go with the console.log. I cannot freeze the execution. Okay. So if you want to pause or freeze your execution and stop a while and examine all your properties and values and then move next, that is not possible with the console.log. So console.log will show you the message in your, let me just show you. So you'll be seeing the message in the console, right? So when I just right click this and go to the inspect, you'll be seeing the message only after the complete execution. In the console, we'll be seeing the message, whatever console.log error message you have tested or whatever you have checked in your code, it will be appearing only after the execution. Okay, but what is our need is we cannot pass the execution and examine the properties values. This is the first reason we are not going to use console.log to debug this component. Okay, next comes the important point. Now we had a problem, right? So it is really hard to debug the event handling. So look at this. I want to check the button click. So this is actually a button click. It's a move next to button click. Okay. So in this component, I'm having only one button click. But in real-time project, you'll be having lots of button clicks. So if you want to check which particular click is not working fine, because of which particular button click it's not working, you have to, if you are actually going with a console.log traditional method, you have to probably use the console.log in every handler. Okay. And there comes the next issue. If you use lot of console.logs to debug your LWC component, you will be having the performance issue. Okay, and you'll be literally confused a lot. Okay, so which particular click is producing this console.log error message? I think many of you might have suffered, right? So even I have suffered by using this console.log. Okay, so the performance issues are also there. And then coming to the last point, it's a very important point. So in this particular code, I haven't used any Apex calls. Okay, if you are actually making any Apex controller call, then what happens is you cannot trace whether the Apex controller have been called or not. If some error is happening, you have to check with the console.log very slowly. Okay, so to debug your component faster, this console.log is not going to help you. Yes, in some situations, we are going to use console.log if it is a very small issue. Okay, but when you want to stop and execute and examine your code and understand why it is not working, then this process of using the console.log is not going to help you. Then now you may ask me, then how to debug? How to debug this component? Okay, so we are going to learn how to debug the LWC components with a tool which is nothing but Chrome developer tools. So Chrome has given us excellent developer tools to debug our LWC components. Okay, so in the next video, we are going to see how to debug the LWC component using the Chrome developer tools. Okay, so that is what we are going to see in the next video. I hope in this video you would have got a clarity about why we are going to learn how to debug LWC components. Okay, let us meet in the next video. You can provide your valuable feedback regarding this particular video by scanning this QR code. Thank you.